All right, we are live. Welcome back to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Mexico City. I do apologize that I'm a little bit late. I did say we're starting at 8, and instead I started at 8:11. That's because I was finishing up tape on one particular fight that I made a play on, posted the play, wanted to give it to my subscribers because we're paid now, went corporate. Wanted to put that out there because I suck with line movement and I don't know which way the line's going to move on that fight. So I wanted to put it out. I made the play, and that's why we're a little bit late. But here we are. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're watching live, can you let me know if we're looking good in terms of? Okay, there we go. Champ Bets is in here, so I think we're good. What's up, Champ Bets? Thank you for tuning in as always. And all right, as usual, we're going to do a quick recap of last week, and then we're going to jump into this card because we got 13 fights to talk about. I don't love this card from a betting perspective. I've got 2 plays right now. Both of them are moderate underdogs. I'd say pretty sizable underdogs. And I don't really know how much more I'm going to add. I don't really love much this card, but let's talk about last week real quick. So last week we had, let me pull it up. All right, so we had Sean Brady minus 140, 2.8 units to win 2. That cashed very easily, honestly. I was a little bit worried because so many people were on Leon. So many people were talking about the cardio of Brady and how if he can't take down Leon, Leon will cook him. And he took him down multiple times, drowned him, subbed him. I didn't think a sub was going to happen. I thought he might look dominant and really establish that grappling, but I didn't really expect him to submit him. So that was impressive to me. And Brady's a beast. Brady's an absolute beast. Got to give him credit where credit's due. I used to be a hater, but I would say I'm a fan now. After that, I had Nathaniel Wood plus 165 for 1 unit. That was a great bet. The second the walkouts happened, I already was I felt a lot more comfortable with my bet during walkouts because he looked a lot bigger to me than usual. I feel like Wood has really filled into the weight, and maybe I'm just late to the party and he's already filled out like that, but I only just noticed it. But when he was walking out, I was like, all right, we're not looking too small no more. I used to be really worried about the move up to featherweight, but he dropped Morgan, who's very durable. Power has clearly translated. He's looking a lot more thick, definitely filled into the frame. So I think the move up to featherweight for Wood overall is going to be a net positive, even though I had my hesitations. After that, I had Jai Herbert minus 130 to win 1 unit. In hindsight, it was a bad bet at chalk because he didn't separate at all. Really, he didn't separate, and that's why he lost. I think that I won't call it a robbery. I won't say that he got robbed, but I think the wrong guy won the decision. I thought that Jai Herbert won. I felt like I understand that Jai didn't do anything, but I felt like Padilla did even less, and he was just running away the entire time. I mean, he didn't do anything. What did Padilla do? A few clinch knees to the leg. He landed almost nothing at distance. I can spend hours complaining about it, but he lost. So overall, a bad bet on Herbert at minus 130. And then Puja Tamar plus 155, 1 unit there. I don't think it was a good bet. I know a lot of people lost their marbles when I said that. A lot of people got upset at me because they also had Puja. I don't think it was a good bet. I understand that the judges, 2 of them, had Puja winning the first round. I did not. I didn't think she won that first round. I know we talk about damage over whatever, but I didn't think she really did much damage. Maybe she landed slightly bigger shots, but to me, it looked like she seemed incredibly uncomfortable on the feet, did not know what to do because Bannon was much larger and had a sizable reach advantage. And I felt like Bannon was kind of just picking her apart, was winning comfortably. Again, I understand the judges had it different. I'm just saying how I saw it. I didn't think she won the first round. And then, yeah, she got a really nice head kick, follows her to the ground, gets stuck in an armbar, gets out of said armbar, and then says, watch this, and goes right back into the armbar. Like, how is that a good bet? Your fighter has terrible fight IQ, 0 ground game, 0 idea what to do on the mat, and had no idea how to handle the reach, and we're going to pretend and it was a good bet and just pat ourselves on the back so we feel better about losing. Not me. I thought it was a terrible bet, so not one I would make again. After that, we had Tybura, Parkin, fight goes the distance, minus 134. I played that to win 1 unit. That cashed. It was a little stressful. I think it was the second round where Parkin almost got him out of there. But overall, I'd say that was a solid bet. After that, and before that, it wasn't much of a stress. Then I had the parlay with Loughran Fletcher fight goes and Kavanaugh Felipe Dos Santos fight goes. That came out to plus 126. I had 1 unit on it. Pretty good parlay, I'd say. I mean, both had their moments where it was a little bit concerning, but for the most part, they went the distance, and I think they would at a high clip if they kept running those matches back. And then the one other bet I had, the two other bets, I had Fernandez KO plus 800 and Fernandez TKO round 1 at plus 2,000. I mean, KO or TKO round 1 plus 2,000. Almost cashed both. Made one of the most basic classic errors you can possibly make, where you think an underdog has a shot, and a sizable underdog. We're not talking plus 100. We're talking 350, where you think a sizable underdog has a shot. And instead of just playing the money line and then maybe some props, you only play the prop. That's what I did. Classic error. He ends up winning. I think it was a 30-27, or I think one judge might have had a 30-26 decision against Guram. Who would have thought? I thought that Fernandez could win. I said that in my breakdown show. I said it throughout the week, but I did not have the balls to play the money line. And that hurt me because the KO came close, but it didn't happen. And ultimately, really should have had the money line. So lesson learned, I hope. You never know with me, because I'll learn my lessons and then I'll just do the wrong thing again anyway. So hopefully I've learned my lesson. And we ended up finishing up the night at 3.25 units profit. So I'll take it. We're on a 5 event winning streak now, I think. 5 UFC event winning streak, because I'm pretty sure there's a regional event there where I did lose. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure I did. I lost like 1.3 units. So not technically a 5 event streak, but a 5 event UFC streak. We're on one, up like 22 units in just that streak, up 25 units on the year, and hoping to keep it going. Knock on wood. If you guys want my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, those are officially behind a paywall. It's $10 a month now. You can hit me up. I'll give it to you guys here. Couch Warrior Pod is the promo code. That'll get you 20% off on the first month. And you can get the link to the Dub Club on my description of this video, and pretty much all my profiles on all socials. The link should be there. And if for some reason you can't find it or you're having trouble with it, just DM me anywhere you want, and I'll get back to you real quick. All right, so let's pull up the fights for this week, and let's get right into it, because we got 13 fights to talk about. Okay. Nope. Okay. Make that a little bigger. Now we're talking. All right. Before we break this down, cheers, guys. Thank you guys for joining me, as always, on this Tuesday night. Let's rock. All right. First fight of the night, we've got Austin Hubbard versus Marquel Mederos. Hubbard, 16-8-0, 33 years old, 5'10" with the 71-inch reach. Mederos, 9-1-0. He's going to be 28, so he's 5 years younger. He's going to be the same height, but he's going to be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. So not super confident in this fight. The way I kind of see Hubbard is he's kind of like the male version of Sam Hughes, where he's not bad at anything, but he's also not spectacular at anything. And when he's winning, it's normally because either A, he's got a cardio advantage, B, he's got a grappling advantage, or both. And otherwise, he's not normally winning fights. I know that he did beat, what's his name, Michal Figlak, but honestly, I don't think he won that fight. And I think most people agree that he did not win that fight. So I'm not going to give him too much credit there, but he did keep it close against a good fighter in Figlak. And overall, he normally is keeping it close. You know, Hubbard's a solid striker, decent boxing, decent kicks, but nothing special. Output is nothing special. It's not like he's bringing on this crazy pace and pressure. He's a solid wrestler. He can get takedowns. His takedown defense is fine. But overall, he's like not super athletic. Like Mederos is definitely the more athletic guy here. I think Mederos hits harder. I like Mederos' striking a little bit better. Now, maybe Hubbard can try to mix in some takedowns, but I would say Mederos has some pretty good takedown defense. He can be taken down. It's happened before. It could probably happen again, but I don't really think it's going to happen at a super high clip. Now, also worth mentioning, camps for both guys are different than what Tapology is saying. Hubbard is at VFS. He's there with guys like Ignacio Balmondes and Bilal Muhammad. And Mederos, he's gone from Factory X. He's over at MMA Lab now. So he's training with guys like, you guys know who trains at MMA Lab. There's a lot of good dudes there. Mostly at 135, though. I feel like most of those guys like Kyler, Sean, who else is there? McKee. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'd say that MMA Lab is strongest in like the bantamweight division, but they have some good guys for him to work with. So I like that move for him. I know that Factory X had some kind of drama. I'm not filled in on what that drama was or what happened, but from what I understand, that camp fell apart. Most of them have left, and most of them are doing their own thing now or at different camps, and Mederos is at MMA Lab now. So I'm not really crazy about this fight. I don't really feel strongly about it one way or the other. Mederos at minus 180, minus 190, minus 200. That feels wrong because Hubbard, a lot more UFC experience, a lot more tested. You know, with the cardio, I don't really think either guy's going to have much of a cardio issue, but it's worth talking about because we are at elevation, significant elevation. I'm pretty sure it's even higher than Denver and Colorado. And, you know, it's worth mentioning. I just, in this fight, like I lean towards Hubbard having an easier time with the cardio than Mederos. But I haven't really seen tremendous cardio issues from either guy here. So that's not a major factor for me. And Champ kind of saying what I'm thinking, elevation is making this card difficult because there's some spots where I'm staying away because it's at elevation. There's some spots where I want to play it because of the elevation, but I don't know how much emphasis or how much credit to give to that. So it's a little tricky, this card, but yeah. Overall, I lean Mederos. I just think he's the better striker. He's the more athletic guy. He's the younger dude. He's the one I can expect improvements from. I like the camp that he's at, and I think that he should be able to stuff most of the takedowns from Hubbard. But Hubbard has a tendency of fighting really close in all of his fights pretty much when he's not getting finished. He fought really close with Alexander Hernandez, fought very close with Mikhail Figlak, and got that win, even though he didn't necessarily deserve it. And he will probably fight close here, too, because I don't really think Mederos is going to finish him. Feel like Hubbard is pretty damn durable. So I think this is probably going to go all 3 rounds. And because of that, I don't have a ton of interest on the guy this is only his second UFC fight in Mederos. So I'm going to pick him to win, but I'm not dying to play it. I am curious about what the totals look like, and they look horrible. Minus 250 for fight goes, over 2.5, minus 275. I'm good on that. We can move on. Next up, we've got Jamall Emmers versus the best mustache in the UFC, Gabriel Miranda. Jamall Emmers, 28-0. He's going to be 35 years old, which is crazy. I didn't expect that. He's 5'10" with the 74-inch reach. Miranda, 17-7-0. He's 35 as well. He's going to be 5'11", so he's 1 inch taller, but he's giving up 3 inches in reach. I mean, there's really not much to break down here. I think if you guys are consuming my content, you're probably listening to other people. I assume I'm not the only person you listen to. And I think the breakdown is going to be the same across the board. Emmers, clearly the much better fighter everywhere this goes except pure jiu-jitsu. But can you trust the guy? Absolutely not. He fights too close. There's fights like the Jenkins fight where he should have separated, but he did not because he's a bit too tentative. I thought he still deserved that win, but he lost, and that's kind of the issue. You know, you shouldn't be fighting close in some of these matches. You should be really separating. And I think that Jamall Emmers, he's a guy who can separate in a lot of these fights, but he doesn't. And then he makes a lot of stupid errors. I'm sure for a lot of you guys, I did for sure. I lost when he fought Sabatini. I'm pretty sure I bet Emmers, and he knocks him down and then chases him to the ground and decides to, let's see who's got a better leg lock, and then gets submitted. So I think that Emmers is probably going to finish Miranda. Miranda's not bad. I don't think he's terrible. I think that his striking is fine. I don't think he's as good as Emmers. I don't think that he can put together a competent 15 minutes on the feet. But in short spurts, I feel like Miranda's striking actually isn't that bad, and he does hit relatively hard. So would I be super shocked if he hurt Emmers? No, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility. Emmers has been hurt more than once. We know that. And like I said, I think Miranda's getting a little bit too much crap for his striking. I actually don't think it's horrible. I just can't see him doing it for 15 minutes straight. And then, you know, Miranda's a very, very, very good grappler once it hits the mat. His jiu-jitsu is very good, very opportunistic, very fast with the submissions, and he can finish a lot of guys, but his wrestling's not that good to get it there. So he's going to depend on other people bringing him there. Now, again, kind of playing into the fight IQ talk with Emmers. he's the kind of guy to have a huge striking advantage and then say, but I can also take him down, and then take him down and then get submitted. So that's a concern. And, him getting caught is a bit of a concern. And then on top of that, there's the whole elevation thing. But I think if anything, the elevation favors Emmers. I haven't seen any like real major cardio concerns with him. And then with Miranda, he's getting tired at normal elevation. So fighting here, I think it's 7,000 feet up in Mexico City. I think that's going to be rough for Miranda. I think Emmers probably wins this fight by finish. I think he probably knocks out Miranda. I'm thinking it happens in like the second or third round. But the issue is, like, I don't really see him knocking him out flat, like just putting him out cold. And if he just knocks him down, then he has to chase him to the ground to go get the finish. And I don't know that he can. So, like, I don't know if he can without getting submitted is my concern. So I like Emmers to win. Not going to lay minus 300. There's zero chance of that. But I also have zero interest in Miranda. Don't have any interest in that dog play. And then like the props, I don't know. Like the over 2.5 is plus money, but I don't want to do that. But I also don't want to lay the chalk on the under, because would I be shocked if this was like a tentative affair on the feet and then Emmers does take him down but stays safe? I wouldn't be shocked. So I don't really want to touch any of that, even though I do think it goes under at a really high clip. I'm thinking like, I was thinking maybe like round 2, round 3, but they're pricing this like Emmers is fighting Herbert Burns. That round 2 Emmers is plus 400 on Bet Online. Round 3 is plus 700. It's garbage. Like, you shouldn't be paying that for round props. Now, there's situations where I do pay that for round props. Like whenever Herbert Burns is fighting, I will play his opponent's 2-3 props. But I have an icky feeling about this fight, and I feel like it's best to stay away at this price. Minus 300 plus 262 on Miranda. Like, I'm good. We can move on. Let me catch up with the chat because I see Dogfather going crazy in here. Champ saying, what did Champ say? Feels like Emmers should clean up here, but he's completely untrustworthy. The only other person who's maybe more untrustworthy than him is also fighting on this card, Lupita Godinez. All right, Dogfather, you're the only person I listen to. That's a lie, bro. You never listen to me. Okay. Under, only thing I would look at, but nasty number. Yeah, in general, I'm not great at unders. I only ever play an under if it's plus money, because I know I'm not that good at it, and because I know my reads on unders aren't that great. So I'm definitely not laying the chalk on an under like this. Like, whenever I think about unders I've played that were good, the only one I can think of is chalky unders. I mean, the only one I can think of is like when Costa fought Steve Garcia. I played Fight Doesn't Go at like minus 220. That was a good under. But overall, I'm not good at them, so I stay away at chalk. Dub Club got Emmers minus 240. Nah, we don't do that around here, dog. Oh, that's Pepe, actually. Mixed you guys up. What's up, Pepe? Oh, that was Pepe, too. I thought you and Dogfather were the same person because you both have the brown letters. Dub Club got Emmers. Yeah, he's roasting the people. Emmers KO. I do think Emmers gets the KO. Matt Smith. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. It makes sense. I definitely wouldn't parlay them because there's a really good chance that at least one of them drops the ball. Henry saying he only uses YouTube to watch me. Well, that's good. That's good. Thank you, Henry. But all right, let's move on. Next up, we've got Rafa Garcia versus Vinc Pichel. Rafa, 16-4-0, 30 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. Pichel, he's going to be 14-4-0. He's 42, so he's 12 years older. He's going to be 3 inches taller, though, and he's got a 2-inch reach advantage. So for me in this one, I haven't looked into it a ton. I'll say that up front. I still need to tape this one quite a bit more. But where I'm at right now is I don't really have a ton of interest. Yeah, Rafa Garcia, clearly the rightful favorite. I feel like both of them have very similar styles. Both of them are solid strikers. Both of them are good grapplers. I would say that Garcia is a stronger grappler than he is a striker. Pichel, pretty well-rounded, but I'd say his grappling is probably stronger than his striking. And in this particular matchup, it's just like, what is Rafa going to do to cover minus 500 and really separate? Is he going to finish Pichel? I don't really think so. I think Pichel's pretty durable. I don't really see Garcia getting a sub. I don't really see him getting that knockout because, like I said, Pichel's durable, and I don't really think Garcia hits hard. And it's like, is he going to outpace Pichel? Probably not. He's got pretty good cardio in his own right. Garcia's got good cardio too. He's got that dog in him. He's always moving forward. He's a tough dude, but I don't think he's going to tire out Vinc Pichel. I don't really think he's going to knock him out. I don't think he's going to sub him. And do I think he's going to just blanket 30-27 him? I'm not really sold on that either. I just think that skill for skill, it's a close fight. The major advantages I give for Garcia is that he's just younger. Maybe hits a little bit harder. Maybe a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more forward pressure. But that's really it. Like I said, I got to tape this one a bit more. I can tell you with 95% certainty that I'm not going to play the Pichel money line. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that I'm not going to do anything with Garcia. But what I am thinking about is I'm maybe thinking about the spread. I think the spread might not be a terrible look on Pichel. I checked it out earlier today. On BetOnline, it's plus 175. My rule since 2023 has been no spreads at chalk, because no matter how amazing your read is, no matter how accurate you are, your fighter rightfully lost 29-28. But it takes one bad judge to say, no, I saw 30-27. And there goes your good bet. There goes the chalk you laid on the spread. And it's just not worth it. So I only play spreads if they're plus money. This one is plus 175, is actually pretty solid in my opinion. And it's something I'm considering. But like I said, it's a spot that I need to tape a bit more before I do anything with it. And we can move on in a second. Let me catch up with the chat. Champ saying he's also going to war with Lupi. We're going to get there soon. I think I'll make Dogfather happy with my breakdown, though. Pepe, Mush of the Week, Brandon Moreno. We'll talk about it, Pepe. We'll talk about it. No spoilers. Champ saying Rafa should win, but no thanks. Pass. Yeah, I don't think I can. I don't think I know anybody who's going to lay minus 500 on Rafa. Even the squarest people I know, I don't think they're going to play Rafa at minus 500. Jake, what's good, Jake? Thanks for tuning in, brother. Appreciate you as always. Henry saying he's going to go with fight FTSR2. I'm assuming that means fight to start round 2 for this fight, or for the. Are you talking about the Miranda Emmers one? Because this one, the over is minus 325. So your fight starts round 2 is probably going to be like minus 1,000. Gabriella 6'9", dogs barking at altitude. Yeah, I mean, I think that the two things I notice, at least with altitude, is A, fights tend to go longer, and B, a lot more submissions than knockouts. Probably because guys are tired. The power starts to go a little bit, so we see more subs. We don't see as many knockouts. We didn't see any knockouts in UFC London, which is kind of crazy. Biker Boy saying Vinc Pichel, MMA Twitter Dog of the Week. We all know how this... Really? I'd say I'm on Twitter quite a bit, and I'm definitely on only MMA Twitter, and I haven't seen a single person play anything on this fight, so I'm surprised to hear that. I guess I'm not that surprised. I mean, how hard is it to get to Vinc Pichel at plus 375? It's not that hard. If you told me I had to make a play on this fight, probably would play Pichel. I mean, if you told me I had to play a money line, I'd play Pichel. But yeah, I only really have interest in the spread here. Yeah, Pichel fight. Those are the plays I hit. Dude, fight to start round 2 is going to be like minus 1,000, though. What do you even do with that? Parlay it? Champ saying I've been seeing a bunch of Polastri love, not going to lie. No spoilers, bro. Oh, there we go. It's up next. All right, next fight up, we've got Julia Polastri versus Lupita Godinez. Polastri, 13-4-0. She's 27 years old, 5'2" with the 63-inch reach. Godinez on the other side, she's going to be 12-5-0. She's 31, so she's 4 years older. She's going to be the same height, but she's giving up 2 inches in reach. It's dog or pass for me. I do like the underdog here. I don't really love the idea of laying chalk on Lupi here. I understand why people might like to play her here. I think there's a thought there that people are saying Polastri doesn't have good takedown defense. She can be taken down. I think Corey McKenna took her down one time. Jasmine Jasovicius took her down like 4 times and controlled her. But like, come on. Jasmine's up at 125. She's a contender at this point in the division. She's beating almost everybody she's fought. And Polastri was up a weight class. She's not a flyweight. She's a strawweight. She's small for flyweight. And she got taken down and couldn't really do much about it. So To me, I'm not putting much emphasis in the Jasmine Jasavicius fight. What I'm really doing in terms of the takedown defense for Polastri is I'm looking at what she does when people shoot. And what I see is she's trying to elevate those arms. She's trying to get her underhooks in. She's using her hips. She's using the fence. And I think her takedown defense is actually pretty good. And I think her get-ups are pretty good. I think she has decent offensive wrestling in her own right. She's not going to take down Lupi. I'm very confident in that. Lupi does have good takedown defense, and she's a very good wrestler in her own right. I just don't think that it's going to be easy for Lupi to take down Polastri here. I think it's going to be quite difficult. And what I like about it is Polastri's constantly throwing those clinch knees. And if Lupi's shooting but not getting those takedowns, where are we going to end up? We're going to end up in the clinch against the fence. And what's Polastri going to do? Polastri's going to start blasting knees to the midsection, and she does it really well. So I think that's going to be a really good weapon for her. On the feet overall, Lupi's a good boxer. Both women have very good output for the division, I would say. Lupi consistently going past 100 significant strikes. Polastri, close to that. She hasn't gone past 100, but she's getting close. And I think against McKenna, it was just over 80 significant strikes, something like that. And I just think that it'll be close on the feet. Lupi's a good boxer, but I think Polastri's got more weapons. I think that she hits harder. I think she's going to be winning the moment. I don't think either of them gets a knockout. Lupi very durable, Polastri durable, and Lupi doesn't have much power. But I think that the bigger moments are going to go to Polastri, and I just think she mixes it up better on the feet. She's got more tools. She uses those kicks really well. Lupi not really throwing many kicks. She'll dig to the body with the hands, but you don't really see a ton of kicks from her. And I just think that overall on the feet, I kind of favor Polastri. So does it make sense to make Lupi the favorite? Yeah, it does make some sense to make Lupi the favorite because she has the grappling upside. But do I want to lay minus 230 or higher on Lupi here? No, absolutely not. With the wrestling, first of all, like I said, I think Polastri's takedown defense is better than she's being given credit for. And second of all, how about Lupi's fight IQ? This woman's incredible. When she should be grappling, she doesn't do it at all. When she should not grapple, she grapples. Verna Jandaroba. Oh, well, let's go leg for leg. Let's see what we can do. Against Mackenzie Dern of all people, she's getting takedowns. But then she's fighting strikers and she's not taking them down. So do I trust her to have a good game plan here? Absolutely not. Would I ever lay the chalk on her when she has no power upside, bad fight IQ? And even though her wrestling is good, is her control good? No. Does she do anything with the control? No. Does she have crazy ground and pound? No. Does she have submission grappling? No. So I don't really see a ton of upside on Godinez at minus 230 or whatever it is now. I think this is a clear dogger pass, and I lean towards the Polastri side in terms of a bet here. Let's catch up with the chat, and then we'll move on. Champ saying he's seen a bunch of Polastri love. I understand it. I definitely get it. In what world is Lupi minus 2? I agree with you, Six Sound. Good to see you, Six Sound. Thanks for tuning in. Henry saying I hit 40% parlaying usually. Yeah, those are fun until it's not. I had a phase like that too, and then I stopped after I lost quite a bit of money. Six Sound saying Queen of 29/28. He's talking about Lupi. Six Hound poking a little fun at Henry over here. Champ, honestly, I think even if with no wrestling, I still think she wins if Polastri's not moving forward. But what makes you think she's not going to move forward here? If Lupi has zero power, which we know is a fact, and Lupi doesn't wrestle, which you're saying even if she doesn't wrestle, how are you confident she's going to win on the feet? Lupi has one of the worst fight IQs in the UFC. I strongly agree there. Henry over here killing it with his minus 1,000 parlays. Champ saying this is a step down in comp for Lupi. He thought she won against Dern. I didn't think she beat Dern, but yeah, it is a step down, and it's definitely a step up for Polastri. But skill for skill, I don't know how you get to this line personally. Like, I'm a guy who leans towards grapplers most of the time, but I don't think it's right to give Lupi minus 230 just based off of the grappling, based off of what we know. And like I said, that's the fight IQ. And also, even if she's fighting with a smart fight IQ, what does she do on the ground? Not really that much. Her control's not great. Her ground and pound is fine. Her submission grappling isn't that good. When's the only time that she really looked super dominant and like did a ton once she took somebody down? Elise Reed? That's where I'm at. Let's see. Matt thinks Lupi's gonna ragdoll Polastri. Fair enough. Fair enough. Would I be shocked if she beats Polastri? No, I wouldn't be shocked. I think she's the rightful favorite, but I think it's a major dog or pass. All right, next up, we've got Costa versus Christian Rodriguez. Costa, 22-7-0, 28 years old, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. And he literally just fought like a month ago against Andre Fili. And then C-Rod on the other side, he's going to be 12-2-0. He's 27, so he's 1 year younger. He's 3 inches shorter, and he's going to have just about the same reach. So this one's tricky for me. As of right now, I lean towards Costa. And I did tape the fight. This was one of the first fights that I did tape. It was the second fight I taped. And I taped it. And I put in my notes specifically that I want to come back to it because I like Costa to win. But I'm a little concerned about two things, right? And I'm concerned about, A, the grappling, because Christian can grapple, Christian can wrestle, and we know that Costa, while I think his takedown defense is good, and I'll talk all about it in a second, he can be taken down. And when he is, sometimes he's too happy to play off of the back. And I have an idea in my head that he's probably going to go Gilly at least once or twice here. And that's probably going to end up with him stuck on his back. So that's a concern. And my other concern is I feel like if anybody's going to struggle with the elevation and the cardio here, I feel like that's going to be Costa. So those are the two things that are kind of keeping me off right now, because I'm off of my first time taping it. I'm picking Costa to win, and he's an underdog. So this should be a solid play for me, but I'm a little uncomfortable. So it's at the top of my list of retaping. If you guys watch me, you know that I'll tape fights, and sometimes there's fights that I want to go back to and look at again the second time with a fresh mind, kind of different mindset, wake up and go for it. So this is the main fight that I need to retape for this card, and it's at the top of my list. But as of now, we're going to stick with Costa, and here's why. So I love C-Rod. I've backed him many times against all those prospects that everybody talks about. I've cashed on him, even maybe when we shouldn't have, like a Bulgarian fight. But there's asterisks to put next to all of them, right? Let's go through it. So Austin Bashi, awesome win. Bashi, really high-level prospect, a guy who I think has a really good future ahead of him. But Bashi's a guy who is pretty small for featherweight. He's a guy who used to be a bantamweight, moved up in weight classes, similar to C-Rod. C-Rod was a bantamweight too. But Bashi's just on the smaller side of things. I don't think he's a big featherweight at all, not even close. And I think he might be a little bit too small for the weight class. So that's one thing. And the other thing is Bashi doesn't really have much striking. His striking is solid. It's improving. It's a part of his game that's developing because he comes into MMA from a grappling background. But it's just worth mentioning here because C-Rod's getting a lot of credit for these wins. He's getting a lot of credit for the Bashi win. He's getting a lot of credit for the Bulgarian win. That's why he's minus whatever it is here, minus 160. That's why. But at least with Bashi, those are the things I can poke a hole in, right? He's undersized. He doesn't have much striking. Then he loses to Rosa by sub. Fine, put that away for now. Bulgarian, he wins that fight on the cards, and I'm happy he did because I had a bet on him. Do I think he actually won? Probably not. But even then, right? Even then, Bulgarian's not much of a striker. Bulgarian's a pure grappler. He's extremely physical. He's powerful, but he's not a great striker. He's not a guy who can really set up his takedowns with his hands unless you also can't really strike. Then maybe he can. But overall, Bulgarian's not a guy who's setting up the takedowns really well with his striking because he's not. He's just a grappler who's very strong, very powerful, and he's good on top. So, again, another asterisk to put there. Cameron Saimon, 135er, one of the better strikers that C-Rod has fought. And on the feet, it was relatively close, but Saimon was on the smaller side of things and also kind of had a weird game plan there. Raul Rosas Jr., probably one of the better grapplers he's fought, but also a bantamweight and also a guy with not much striking. We'll be talking about him later, but now maybe the striking's developed a little bit, but that fight was like almost 2 years ago. Rosas really didn't have much striking at all at that point. So, and I had a bet on C-Rod there as well. So I'm glad he won, but I can't put too much emphasis into that going in against featherweights who are natural featherweights who are well-rounded. Even though he's beating these prospects, that's kind of the thing. He's beating prospects, guys who we think are good, guys who we think will have a future, guys who we think are, have very high ceilings, but might not be there yet. Now, a guy like Costa, he's not a guy people are looking at and saying future champ, but he's a very well-rounded guy. He's going to be the bigger guy here by a decent margin. I think he's a better striker here. Now, maybe not better striker. It depends what you're looking at, right? Because straight boxing, just pure boxing, meat and potatoes, who's got the better work? C-Rod. C-Rod's got a really good jab, nice straight down the pipe with all his strikes, good combinations. In that regard, he's better. But Costa's got more tools, more weapons. He's much more dynamic on the feet, in my opinion. Much better at using the kicks, mixes up targets really well, goes to the body really well. C-Rod does too, but Costa will do it with kicks really nicely. And I just like Costa striking a little bit more. I think he has a little bit more to offer on the feet. In terms of power, I don't really know who to give the power to because I don't think Costa's super powerful, and I don't really think C-Rod's super powerful at featherweight either. C-Rod does seem to have some pop to his punch, but I don't know if I'm going to give a major power advantage to either guy. And then talking about the grappling, I said, yeah, Costa can be taken down and he can get stuck on his back. But the two guys who really took him down, Feely took him down but got submitted shortly after. So there's no real reason to talk about that. And Feely's also a good wrestler, so that's fine. The other two guys who took him down were Shailon Erdebeki, who maybe he's not the best mixed martial artist in the world, but that dude is a stocky, very, not like tall featherweight, but a big featherweight and a strong featherweight. And that's his game. He's a pure wrestler. He doesn't have much else other than some big overhands and a little bit of power. So Costa getting taken down by him isn't a huge problem to me, especially knowing that Costa did scramble very well in that fight. And he did a good job working back up. He did a good job scrambling. And then the other fight where he really got out grappled was Thiago Moises, on short notice, up a weight class against a guy who's a really, really elite grappler. Maybe not an elite wrestler, but a good wrestler, in my opinion. A guy who I think is stronger than C-Rod, is more physical than C-Rod, who's a career lightweight. I think there's a little bit of a difference there between the grappling of Moises and Erdebeki and a guy like C-Rod, who is a good wrestler, but not a phenomenal wrestler. And he's a guy who's on the smaller side of things for featherweight. I just feel like I really do lean towards the Costa side. I think on the feet, he's going to be able to do more. He's going to be the one throwing like more things, doing mixing it up better. And on the ground, he's the one who's more dangerous too. If anybody's got submission upside, I lean towards the Costa side here, not C-Rod. So for me, I feel like if you're picking C-Rod, you're kind of betting on a decision, which is fine. It could 100% happen. And like I said, part of the reason why I haven't played anything yet, despite picking the underdog to win, is I feel like I need to retape this and make sure that my read was actually how I feel, because I am worried about the cardio from Costa. I don't really think Costa actually has any cardio issues, but that's normally. I feel like he has slowed down, though, and now at elevation, that's why I'm a little bit worried. And I am a little worried that if Rodriguez does get the takedowns, Costa might play off his back a little bit too much. Those are concerns, but still, I'm leaning towards the Costa side of things. It's definitely a dogger pass. I don't know. I don't think you can lay minus 160, minus 170 on C-Rod here. I just don't think this is one of those spots. He excels against the prospects, but the key there is a lot of these prospects are very green, at least in one area, and Costa's not green in any area, in my opinion. And he's got what, almost 30 fights at this point. So yeah, it's dogger pass for me. I might get to the dog. I haven't yet, but like I said, I need to retape that one particular fight. Here, let's go back down while I catch up with the chat, and then we'll move on. Let's see. Champ saying he likes C-Rod to win, but after what he did in elevation last time, he'll pass. Wait, which fight of C-Rod's was that elevation? Was that a Rosa? I think I had a Rosa there. I don't remember. Yeah, that was at elevation. But that wasn't even because he got tired, That wasn't even because he got tired, so I can't really put much into that. Trust the first instincts, Costa's the play, don't overthink it. Yeah, like I said, I think so too, but sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I'm not in the right state of mind. You know, sometimes I think something and then I'll go back in the tape and I'll be like, dude, what the hell were you thinking? So I wouldn't say it's overthinking it. I just want to make sure about my read. Aussie saying both guys will have moments. Could be fight of the night. Ton of scrambling and near subs. I think so too. And thanks for tuning in, Aussie. Always a great time seeing you. Jake saying I'm going to play Melky at 1 unit if he gets a plus 200. I don't know if we see plus 200, but that would be really cool if we did. I'm not even positive what this comment means. Pepe saying the line should be flipped. Well, there you have it, guys. And I don't disagree. Like I said, I'm literally picking Costa to win. Just before I make a play, I just got to make sure. All right, next up, we've got Ateba Gautier versus Jose Medina. Ateba, he's going to be 6'1-0, 22 years old, 6'4" with an 81-inch reach. Medina, 11'4-0, 33. He's 11 years older, 4 inches shorter, and he's giving up, oh boy, about 7 inches in reach. So, I mean, my read and my breakdown aren't going to be anything special here. I like Ateba in general. I liked him on the Contender Series against that what was his name again? Naito. That guy's like a grappler, and I just felt like the physicality and the power and the athleticism of Ateba would be enough, and it was enough there. But the guy is green as hell. He's so green. He's so raw. He's a solid striker. He's got a ton of power. He's super athletic, but the ground game is still incredibly green. Even on the feet, he's not super like clean. He's just powerful. So would I ever trust him at minus 500? Absolutely not. It never even crossed my mind to play him. And like, I know a lot of people are saying Medina might be the side here because he's durable and he's got good cardio and he's got a brick for a head, and maybe Ateba will gas. And it's possible. In the one fight of Ateba's that did get extended, he did gas. He did get tired. But he's 22 years old. He's going to be rapidly improving. He's very athletic, and Medina's not good at anything, other than being tough and like waving on his opponents and making Dana White happy. What is he really doing that's that good? Like he can kind of wrestle a little bit, but I feel like Ateba is going to have to be completely gassed for Jose Medina to actually go get those takedowns. And then it's like, what's he even going to do with them if he gets them? Is he going to be able to like finish Ateba if he's exhausted? Maybe. But his strikes don't have any oomph to them. He doesn't seem like even a natural, what is he at? This is middleweight. He doesn't even seem like a natural middleweight, even though he's moving down from 205. I feel like this guy, like real talk, he could probably go to lightweight. Realistically speaking, just looking at him, like I feel like he could probably go to lightweight, welterweight at least. So it's like I don't really think he has a ton of power. I don't really think this is the right weight class. It's just this is a major pass for me. I think Ateba probably deads him in the first round, but you can't really lay the chalk. Let's look at the props. Let's look at the props real quick. So Ateba knockout is minus 165, which it's better than the money line, but it's so chalky. And would it be that crazy if Ateba drops him in the first, wins the second off of big punches, but doesn't do a ton otherwise, and then loses the third and wins a decision? Would that be crazy? That wouldn't be that crazy. So I don't really want to lay minus 165 on the knockout. And then what's round one knockout? Round one knockouts plus 225. That might be worth maybe a half unit shot. What I'm thinking, if I did anything with this fight, it would probably be Ateba round one knockout for a half unit, and then live bet Medina if he survives the first round, and I see that maybe he does have something to offer here against Ateba. Then maybe. I don't really see a real reason to get involved pre, because plus 325 on Medina, minus 425 on Ateba. Is Medina going to win the first round here? I feel like the odds are really low of him winning the first round. How does he win the first? Does he take down Ateba and hold him down for the whole round? No. Is he going to outstrike Ateba in the first round? I'd be very surprised. So he probably loses the first round at a high clip, if not every single time. So I don't really see why you would bet him pre, unless like you won't be able to live bet. That happens to me sometimes. And that's why sometimes I'll bet pre when it should be a live bet. So that I can understand it if maybe you just won't have the opportunity to do it live. But otherwise, like if you're going to be watching the fights live, I don't think there's any reason to bet on this fight right now. If you're going to bet Medina, if you're going to bet Ateba and do something with him, okay, fine. But if you're going to bet Medina, just wait the first round, see if he survives, see where it's at with the chin, because I feel like MMA Twitter right now and the MMA sphere is completely split. Some people think that Medina's super durable, which he is so far. And Zachary's does hit pretty hard, but does he hit harder than Ateba? I don't think so. So some people think he's super durable. He'll be able to eat the shots and he'll be fine. Other people think he's just going to die. And I'm somewhere in between. I don't know. So I feel like you should probably just wait it out, wait the first round, and then Ateba will probably get tired. Like if this fight leaves the first round, no matter what Medina's doing, even if it's nothing, Ateba's probably going to be tired. He gets tired as it is. Now you're going to put him at 7,000 feet elevation. He's probably going to be really, really tired. The only thing pre that I would consider is like a round 3 prop of Medina. But even then, he's not a good finisher at a higher level, at least. And like he has no power. And the price isn't even that good. Like plus 1,600 on a round 3 is okay in general, but not when the underdog is plus 325 and then you're giving me the round 3 at plus 1,600. I feel like that's not correct either. Maybe domestics will do something much wider. Then maybe it's a move. But for me, this is a pass. Live bet Medina if he survives the first. I might do that, but pre fight, I'm not going to do anything. Let's catch up with the chat real quick, and then we'll move on. Champ saying Ateba at elevation and massive juice. What could go wrong? So many things could go wrong. So many things. And yeah, like that's the thing. Like, what is Medina even going to do? That's the problem. Aussie praying for Medina's family. Henry's passing. Medina saying, Aussie saying Medina's only defeated 3 fighters with winning records. True. Medina only a live bet. Danny P UFC. What's up, Danny? Ateba will be slow. He is going to be slow motion for sure. But yeah, all right. So we can move on from this fight. I think most of us are on the same page. It's a pass unless you get in live on Medina after the first. All right. Next up, we've got Edgar Chairez versus CJ Vergara. Chairez 11-6-0. He's 29, 5'7" with a 72-inch reach. Vergara 12-6-1. He's 33, 4 years older. He's going to be 1 inch shorter, and he's going to be at a 4-inch reach disadvantage. I like Chairez here. I think Chairez should get it done. I don't hate him as a parlay piece. I haven't done anything with him yet. I might. I'm considering it. Vergara's not a bad fighter at all, and like realistically, this fight's probably going to be relatively close. I don't really see anywhere that Chairez significantly stands out, but he is the bigger, longer guy. I think he's going to be the better guy at range. I think he's got more weapons and tools on the feet. He mixes it up very well. He's got good knees, good elbows, good kicks, good punches. Vergara is not bad on the feet either. He's a solid striker. He's got good output when there's not grappling involved, and Chairez doesn't really offensively grapple, so that's not going to be a major concern. So on the feet, I don't think it's going to be a blowout on the Chairez side, but I do think that Chairez will be the better striker, will have the better moments. If someone does finish on the feet, I lean towards Chairez. Chairez gave Van a pretty good fight on the feet. Hurt him with that, I think it was a spinning elbow. Don't remember off the top of my head, something like that. Chairez I just think he's a more dangerous guy. He's got more ways to finish. He's got really good submission grappling. If anybody gets a sub here, it's going to be Chairez, in my opinion. But like I mentioned like 30 seconds ago, he doesn't really have much offensive wrestling. He's going to depend on his opponents taking him down. And Vergara can wrestle, but his wrestling's not that good. And he also doesn't really go to it a ton. So am I going to depend on him to go for a takedown so Chairez can sub him? No. And then, yeah, it's a weird fight. And then there's also some cardio concerns with Chairez because he has slowed down in the past. And Vergara can put on a pace. Vergara can fight in a high-paced fight. I don't think we've seen him at elevation off the top of my head, but I don't think he's like a bad fighter by any means. And he's often a solid underdog if he's a big underdog and he's fighting guys who don't necessarily separate by a large margin. You know, I bet him against, this is like way back, but when he fought Cleaton Rodriguez, I know not everybody thought he won that fight, but he was probably the side from a betting angle, and he was like almost plus 300 there, if I'm not mistaken. Here, he could win. He could win if Chairez has a, you know, doesn't perform up to his potential. But overall, I do favor Chairez, and the more I play it out in my head, I don't really see Vergara winning this at a super high clip. I think that you could probably parlay Chairez because of the finishing upside, because he's better on the feet, because if it does hit the ground, he's live for a submission. Because of those things, like, I think he's fine if you want to do something with him. I just haven't yet because I'm not super confident. And I don't think CJ's that bad. CJ's weird. Sometimes he'll run away, to recover as fast as he can. He did it in the Tamirov fight, and he did it in the Daniel Santos fight. Maybe he does it again here. I don't know. But it's just a fight that I'm not dying to get involved right now. Minus 260 Chairez, I don't hate it. I think there's worse chalky spots on the card. I feel like if you go piece by piece here, like for each skill, Chairez is probably going to be better in most of them, if not all of them. Striking, I like Chairez. Grappling, I like Chairez. Jiu-jitsu, I like Chairez. Finishing upside, I like Chairez. Cardio, I lean Vergara a little bit. Maybe wrestling, neither of them are really great wrestlers. So, yeah, I'll pick Chairez, but I don't want to waste too much time on this fight because as of right now, I'm not crazy about it, and I'm not doing anything with it yet. But I'll pick Chairez, and like I said, I don't hate him for a parlay piece. All right, next up, we've got Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. Rodriguez, 17-2-0. He's 25 years old, 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. Kevin, he's going to be 9-3-0, 27 years old. He's 2 years older. He's going to be 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. So I'm normally very high on Kevin and not so high on Ronaldo. I've faded Ronaldo. I don't remember. I can't tell you if I bet against him or not in his 2 UFC fights because I genuinely don't remember. I picked against him, I think, in both of them. I'm pretty sure I picked both Ode and Denise Bondar against him, but I don't remember if I bet on them or not. And then with Borjas, I can tell you for sure, I'm pretty sure I bet him against Costa. I 100% bet him against Van. I think I got like plus 200 there. Lost both of them. So I've lost money on Borjas. I've lost money betting against Ronaldo or picking against him. I don't remember off the top of my head. But in this one, it's like I went into it thinking maybe I'd like Borjas or maybe like Ronaldo would be a chalk spot. I wasn't really sure what to expect. And I kind of came out of it just as confused as I was before. On the feet, Borjas is much cleaner. He's going to have the higher output. I think he's the guy who's more defensively sound. Both of them are kind of punching bags. Even though Borjas does like cover up, he's still pretty hittable. But Rodriguez doesn't even bother trying. He's just plain hittable. Like you can hit him all you want. He's durable, but he can be hurt. He got knocked down by Ode in that first round clean. It wasn't even just the first round. I think it was like the first 20 seconds where he got knocked down. Was able to come back ultimately, but it was a scary fight if you were a Rodriguez backer there. And then with Kevin, I don't even remember where I was going there. But anyways, on the feet, I favor Kevin. Think he's a better striker, higher output, a little bit better striking defense. But I don't give him like a major advantage because I feel like Ronaldo hits pretty hard. Ronaldo's going to put him on the back foot. He's not really going to give him a lot of space to work with. And in the pocket, I like Ronaldo striking quite a bit. Kevin, like I said, at range, he'll be better. But in the pocket, I feel like Ronaldo Rodriguez might be a little bit better there. Lazy boy. And then I feel like you have to favor Lazy boy a little bit because of the wrestling, because of the grappling upside. Now, is he an amazing wrestler? No. I don't think his wrestling is that good. And Borjas' takedown defense is pretty good. We saw in the Contender Series. We've seen it since then. Really good use of the underhooks. He's fast to react when his opponent does shoot. But at the end of the day, he can be taken down. He can be controlled. When he gets back up, he does give up his back. And Ronaldo does have a nice back take. He can take advantage of that. He's a very opportunistic guy when it comes to the submissions. And Ronaldo's just one of those guys who just doesn't go away. He's got that dog in him. So does Borjas to an extent. But I feel like Ronaldo, I feel it a little bit more with him. I feel like it's going to take a lot to get that guy out of there. He's just there. He loves to fight, and he's going to bring it every single time. And he's fighting at home here in Mexico. He's got the grappling upside. I feel like he's maybe a little bit more durable. And also, for the love of God, how can you make it 12 fights into your MMA career and you don't even know how to check a leg kick? He doesn't even try. He just moves it away instead. That's like not the move at all. And I know it only really showed in that Costa fight, but come on. At that, like, how much more obvious does it have to get at that point? And how do you get to this stage in your career and not know how to check a kick? I've been to 2 Muay Thai classes and I know how to check a leg kick. This guy's an MMA fighter, a professional, and he's moving his leg away. I feel like that's one of the most amateur things you can do to respond to a leg kick, and that's what he does, and that's a problem to me. I just feel like Borjas, his game is not well-rounded. He's pretty green, and I don't really want to play him, even though he's the underdog, and normally I do like his style of like just being a tough striker and putting out high output. I like that kind of thing, but I don't really want to fade Lazy Boy with him. He's a guy who, while I don't rate his skills super highly, he's just a very tough dude who does have the grappling upside, who can take advantage of the holes in Borjas' game, and who I just trust to fight for my money a little bit more. So for me, I'm going to stay away right now. That's the plan, is to just stay away. While I was taping this fight, the line was flying all over the place. I think when I started taping, and I taped this one right before the show, right? So maybe an hour before the show, I started taping it. And right before the show, I think Rodriguez was like minus 170. And then while I'm taping it, he drops to minus 140. And then I'm taping it, and then I'm seeing him minus 130 in some spots. I mean, he's minus 123 on Pinnacle right now, which I would bet if I could. I just don't have Pinnacle. So the line's been moving like crazy. At minus 160, no, I don't have interest. If you get me down to minus 120, I've got some interest then for the hometown fighter, for the guy who I think has the grappling upside, and for the guy who I just think is a little bit better and will fight for my money a little bit more. And I'm at slight favorite odds like minus 120, I would play that. I don't have that available. So as of now, I'm not. But if I do, I will. If you have Pinnacle, I would take that line at minus, what is it? What did I say it was? Minus 123. I personally would have taken that if I could. Champ saying he has an unhealthy relationship with betting. Me too, bro. Me too. Except I'm letting it go. I'm done. Not done forever. Not done forever. And at the right price, I'd get involved. But I don't really want to do it here. He could box him up. He could. But yeah, I'm passing. All right. Next up, we've got David Martinez versus Simon Oliveira. Martinez 11-1-0, 26 years old, 5'5" with the 67-inch reach. Oliveira, 18-5-0. He's 33, so he's going to be 7 years older. He's going to be 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have he's going to be at a 1 inch reach disadvantage, or a 0.6 inch reach disadvantage, whatever you want to call it. I like Martinez here. I like Martinez in general. I know for some reason a lot of people hate him. I don't know why. I don't know how you can hate a guy who just got to the UFC. But even on the Contender Series, people were running to fade him with Xavier Franklin. And I didn't really understand why. I laid the chalk there on Martinez, and I think that was a good move. I think that was a good bet. I would do it again. I can understand not being super hype about laying, I don't know, big chalk on him, because sometimes he can be a little bit tentative. He's a guy who likes to fight at range. Very, very similar style to his sister, Melissa. I just think he's better than her. But I can understand to an extent of being hesitant to play him, because he can be a little bit low output. He is a bit of a counter striker, and he does move, and he can just be a little tentative sometimes. But I don't really understand the rush to bet against him, because what is he bad at? I don't think he's really bad at anything. Maybe you can like point at the grappling a little bit, but I'd say his takedown defense to me seems pretty good. I'd say pretty solid. I like what he does when people are shooting in on him. And that style of moving around, lateral movement, I mean, that stuff works. That's tried and true. And his defense is very good. He stays safe. He's very good at, keeping that range, closing the distance, landing, and then getting out of there. And against Simon Oliveira, I feel like stylistically, this is a perfect matchup for David Martinez. And if you made me lay the chalk on anybody, it would probably be Martinez who I'd lay the chalk on. He's the one guy who I already have circled as a parlay leg. And if I can come up with one more, Martinez will be the other one, because Simon Oliveira is perfect. Simon Oliveira is a fun fighter. He's very aggressive. He's a solid finisher. He's got some power, very good strike, not very, but good striking, good Muay Thai. And he's got some opportunistic submission grappling too, but he's not a good wrestler. His cardio's awful. Like if I look at the board, like the odds or the tapology, if I look at the board and I try to point out who I'm most concerned about in the cardio department, the first person who came to my mind was Simon Oliveira, because I know his cardio is not good, and that's at normal elevation. And now we're going 7,000 feet up. I think he's going to gas, and I think he's going to gas hard, and I think he's going to gas fast because he's going to be chasing Martinez. Martinez won't stand in front of him. Martinez is going to move. So Simon's going to constantly have to be on the front foot, chasing after this guy while also throwing his big shots, trying for those takedowns that aren't very good. And I don't see it. I think that he could possibly, like, I'm not going to completely rule out him catching Martinez because he does have some power and he's not a bad striker by any means. But overall, I think that Martinez is probably the one favorite that I'm like most comfortable with on this card, because I think this is a really, really, really good stylistic matchup for him. And I think this is like a clear setup fight for him, where the UFC is not into Simon Oliveira at all. He's lost his 2 UFC fights. David Martinez was, what's his name? Daniel Marcos was one of them. And the other one was a Gravely, really good wrestler. And then the Jose Alday fight on the Contender Series, also really close fight. And like, Alday is fine. Would have been cool if he got signed to the UFC, so we had Jose Aldo and Jose Alday at the same time in the same weight class. That would have been fun. But I just feel like he's not amazing, Simon Oliveira. And I just really do think Martinez should cruise here. He could be caught, but outside of like a big shot from Oliveira and like maybe a club or sub of him taking advantage of it, I don't really see it. I think Martinez gets it done at a high clip. And it really just comes down to how does he do it, you know? I don't hate the decision prop on him at like minus. What is the decision? I think the decision is plus money, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, plus 135 on the decision, but I would rather fight goes at that point at plus 100 because, I mean, you're giving up a little bit, but it's MMA. You literally never know. And I rather just take fight goes at plus 100 than playing Martinez's decision at plus 135. But that's one way I would target it. The other way is like maybe like a Martinez round 3 decision, depending on the price, because I think Oliveira will gas. But I don't really think Martinez gets him out of there early. I don't see him as a power striker. And even on the regionals, a lot of the times, you know, he's got like 2 4th-round finishes against guys who aren't that good. So I'm not really thinking that he gets the finish in the 1st or 2nd here. I think if it happens, it's in the 3rd. So what I'm looking at outside of a Martinez parlay piece would be fight goes the distance at plus 100, Martinez round 3 decision, it's not out yet, or like a Martinez round 3 prop. Those are the 3 things I have on my list of bets I'm looking at, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the number could very well be 0, because in order to pull a guillotine, you need your opponent to shoot against you, and I don't really see David Martinez shooting against Oliveira here. But I agree with you here. I do think Martinez should win this fight, and I think he's live to get a finish. I don't necessarily think he does. It's going to be a matter of how hard Oliveira gasses. Like, if I was getting these same lines at the Apex, I would be playing the decision props or the fight goes, and I'd be playing that pretty hard. But because we're at elevation and already I know that Oliveira's cardio is not that good, I'm much more hesitant to lay the it's not chalk, but I'm much more hesitant to play stuff like fight goes, something like that. Even though I said at the beginning of the breakdown show of the whole podcast today, I said with the whole elevation thing, what do we see often is that fights go longer because if the finish doesn't happen early, and a lot more submissions. So it could be this is one of those fights where the fight goes on longer because of the elevation, but I feel like Martinez has pretty good cardio and Simon Oliveira does not. So this is one of those fights where I think it might be an exception and where I'm a little bit nervous to play something like that. But we can move on because we still got quite a few fights left and we're already an hour in. My bad, guys. All right. Next up, we've got Raul Rosas Jr. versus Vince Morales. Rosas Jr., he's 10-1-0. He's 20 years old, 5'9" with a 67-inch reach. Morales, 16-9-0. He's 34, so he's 14 years older. He's going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. I'll be quick here. I don't really see a major path for Morales. I don't think Raul Rosas Jr. is all that right now. I think that he's still super green. He's still only 20 years old. His striking is a work in progress. His wrestling and grappling is very good, but he still makes a ton of mistakes. And I just not a guy that I would trust at minus 400. But with Morales, I mean, I played him against Elijah Smith. I lost there. I don't think it was a bad bet, but my reasoning there was very different than what my reasoning would be here. There, Elijah Smith was making his UFC debut. He's a guy who I think is very, very green, a lot more green than Rosas. Raw talent-wise, Smith has a lot of it. He's very talented and he's very athletic, but he's very green. And I saw a lot of mistakes from him in the striking. And I also saw a lot of mistakes when he was entering in on the takedowns. And I thought, hey, if Morales is going to front choke anybody, it's going to be this guy. And he came damn close. It wasn't a bad bet. It's a bet I would make again. I think I got Morales at like plus, I don't remember, somewhere between plus 170 and plus 190. I'm leaning towards, I think I got plus 190, but I don't remember off the top of my head. You guys could see it all on my Bet MMA. But in this matchup, it's weird. He fought literally a month ago against Elijah Smith, maybe a little bit more than that, 1 month ago. And I don't really know why he took this fight personally, because on the feet, he's probably the better striker, probably, because Raul can't really strike. He's okay. He tries like the 1-2, you see it, but overall, his striking's just not that good. So I guess I would give the striking to Vinc, but Raul doesn't let the fight stay standing. He just shoots. And Vince Morales has pretty good takedown defense. I don't think it's bad at all. But at the end of the day, I just think Raul is going to get those takedowns. He's going to keep shooting. He's got the cardio to do it. He'll go over and over and over again. He'll keep shooting. I think he's going to get the takedowns. I think he can take the back and ride out Vinc. I would not be shocked if he subbed Vinc, even though I do lean towards a decision. I wouldn't be shocked if Vinc did catch him in a front choke also. But I feel like Raul is going to be harder to catch than Elijah Smith. I feel like skill for skill in the jiu-jitsu department, the grappling, Raul is a lot better than Smith. And if Smith was able to fight out of it, I tend to think that Raul could probably fight out of it as well. So I lean towards the Raul Rosas Jr. side here. I am not rushing to play minus 400, but at the same time, I don't have a ton of interest in Vinc here, because the only place I really think he's better is in the striking, and I just don't think he's going to get to use it. And even if he did, I don't think it would be a blowout by any means, and just a few takedowns from Rosas would be enough to get it done. So I'm going to stay away. I don't really see a great way to play this. I'll think about it some more. It's another fight that is on my list to retape, but I'm not really dying to do anything with it. I feel like Fight Ghost isn't terrible at minus 150 with elevation, and all of that, but I don't really know either. I'm not crazy about it, because would I be shocked if Raul subbed him? No. Would I be shocked if Vinc subbed him? Also no. So I don't really want to play the over, but I also don't want to play the under, because I can easily see how this goes over. Raul decision plus 105. I'm good. Morales decision plus 500. I'm also good. Nothing really stands out to me personally with the props or the money lines. I just think this is an overall pass for now. Like if you do like a lotto parlay or like a fun parlay that you do every card and you add a bunch of big favorites, Raul would probably be one that you can put. But in terms of like a bet that I would consider smart or a good move, I don't really see anything here. Aussie saying Raul sub at plus 260 will probably get his money. I don't hate it. I lean towards the decision, but I could see him subbing him. And Champ saying he likes Rosas to win via out grappling, doesn't trust his cardio. That's one of the things that I've been thinking is I am a little worried about the Raul Rosas Jr. cardio. I feel like he can slow down, and Vinc has always had pretty solid cardio. So, the DGen in me will probably want to look at, what is it? All right, so that might be something. Knowing me, there's a good chance I'll end up on a tiny sprinkle on Morales round 3 sub. Because if I'm not losing money on a Morales round 3 sub, what am I doing? Plus 4,000 opener on Bet Online, plus 3,500 now. I'd bet you money that FanDuel or Bet Rivers will give you plus 4,000 I'll probably put 0.1 unit on it just in case Raul does gas and then Vinc catches him in something, because that's possible. I don't think anybody could really deny that being a possibility. And plus 4,000, I mean, not amazing an implied probability off of my head, but I'm pretty sure that's a pretty small number percentage wise. Yeah, plus 4,000 is 2.4%. I feel like you gotta give a Morales round 3 sub like maybe 5%, maybe a little more. He's got really good front chokes, and Raul can slow down. And even when he's not slow, his entries are a little bit sloppy. So I can see a late Vinc sub. Might do it. All right. Moving on, we got Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. Gastelum, he's going to be 19-9-0. He's 33 years old. He's going to be 5'9" with a 71.5-inch reach. Pyfer on the other side, 13-3-0. He's 28. He's 5 years younger. He's going to be 5 inches taller, and he's going to have a 4.5-inch reach advantage. So I know a lot of people on Kelvin. I can understand, and I'm pretty sure they got a better line than what it is now. Kelvin's plus 260 now. Pyfer minus 320. Yeah, the people I've spoken to, they got like plus 380, plus 400-ish. That I can understand. Had I gotten to the tape in time, I might have considered that. I don't really have much interest at all at Kelvin plus 260. He's a guy where, I question him in general. I question his motivation. He's similar to Kevin Holland, a guy who can't really find the right weight class because he belongs down a weight class, but he doesn't really want to cut the weight. So kind of have him in that same group. I just don't really trust Kelvin. I don't know what's going on with him. I know he's only 33 years old, but he's taken so much damage and he's had so many fights where the fight age is probably quite a bit older than 33. And like, what the hell happened against D-Rod? Like, what was that? Pulled up at least he gave a warning that he was going to miss weight. But like, what kind of Dana White privilege is coming to the fight a week before and saying, "Hey, I'm not going to make weight. Can we do middleweight?" What the hell is that? Like, just stay at middleweight then. Don't even bother. Now he's staying at middleweight, but that was just really weird. I don't think he's motivated. I don't like what he says during his interviews. I mean, I remember after the Sean Brady fight, I don't remember what it was that he said, but something he said was so ridiculous. And I feel like Pyfer's going to get it done. At the end of the day, I feel like Pyfer's going to get it done. Am I going to lay minus 320 on Pyfer at elevation? No, when he already kind of has problems with his cardio. But if we're going to go skill for skill, where's Kelvin better? Pyfer's a great striker. Both of them are good strikers. And I know Kelvin's had wars on the feet with guys like Israel Adesanya, but how long ago was that? That was a really long time ago. Since then, a lot has happened, and Kelvin has taken a lot of damage. And while he's a good striker, I don't really think he's going to stand out that much from Pyfer. I think, if anything, Pyfer might look like the better striker in this particular matchup at this particular time. And I think out of the two of them, he's definitely going to hit harder. And then it's like, Kelvin in general has some wrestling upside. Does he in this fight? Not really. Pyfer's got good takedown defense. And if anything, I could see Pyfer muscling him down to the ground. It probably won't be a super technical takedown, but I can see him just dragging Kelvin down. And then on the ground, he's a good grappler too. He's got very, very underrated jiu-jitsu. I know a lot of us in the community hopped on him by sub against Al Hassan. I know some people playing his sub here. I don't like that as much. I feel like just because Sean Brady had success in the grappling against Kelvin doesn't necessarily mean that Pyfer, who trains with Brady, is going to be able to do the same thing. I feel like there's a pretty big difference between the ground game of Brady and the ground game of Pyfer. But at the end of the day, I just don't know where Kelvin's at in his career. I would not trust him with my money. And even if I did, skill for skill, I think right now Pyfer's probably got him covered. On the feet, Kelvin probably throws more, but in terms of just the technique, like who seems like they're a better striker, I think it's close and Pyfer hits harder. And then if anyone has wrestling or grappling upside in this fight, I lean towards that being Pyfer. The concern, of course, is the cardio. Now you're going to stick him at 7,000 feet elevation. That's a concern. So I'm just going to stay away because that's always an option. and it's a great option, especially in this fight. Champ saying trusting Piper at elevation. What could go wrong? Honestly, he thinks he wins. Doesn't have him covered besides boxing. Yeah, I'm with you here. And also, he didn't look great against D-Rod, and D-Rod is like not what he used to be either. So we can move on. Next up, we've got our co-main event of the evening. We got Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. Torres 15-3-0. He's going to be 30 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. Dober on the other side, 27-14-0. He's 36, so he's 6 years older. He's going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's giving up 3 inches in reach. This one's tricky. I haven't seen a single person on Torres. I've heard a few people claim that they've only seen Torres plays, but I haven't seen a single Torres play. I don't know a single person playing him. I've seen so many Dober plays. I have friends who are on Dober, friends who told me to be on Dober, but I haven't seen anybody play Torres. I see Gabriel 6'9" over here yelling Torres time, so maybe he's on him, but I don't really know. I feel like, look, I understand where the Drew Dober hype is coming from here, because if this is a couple years ago, Dober probably is a pretty heavy favorite against Manuel Torres, because skill for skill, who's the better striker? I mean, at range, you can argue Torres has more to offer because he's just a much longer guy and he does know how to use that range. But if we're going into boxing range, then Dober's the better striker. Dober's a much more tested guy. Dober's fought a way higher level of competition. Dober has the much more proven cardio. Dober has the much more proven durability. Dober, just overall, I mean, he's better, probably better almost everywhere except maybe kicking range and maybe just like jiu-jitsu, because Torres has some opportunistic jiu-jitsu and Dober has like no real grappling whatsoever except like an occasional takedown. I think he even took down Moicano. But now at 36, and like I get it. Like Gene Silva, Renato Moicano decision, Matt Frivola knocked him out, but like, I can understand why people are like, oh, the Gene Silva loss isn't a big deal. And I get it. I do understand that Gene Silva probably cooks Torres as well. Not probably. He does cook Torres as well. But I just feel like Dober's kind of over the hill. I think he's a lot slower now. I don't think he's as explosive. I don't think he's as powerful. I'm fairly confident that he's not as durable. And because I know I'm watching the fights live this time, I rather live bet against. I rather live bet unless I get a better line on Dober, because, like, would I be shocked if Torres came out here and just sparked him? No, I wouldn't be shocked at all. And then if we left the first round, then I'd feel pretty good about Dober, because Torres does not have a great gas tank. Torres is not tested over 15 minutes, and now you're going to stick the guy at 7,000 feet elevation and say good luck against Drew Dober of all people. I can 100% understand why people like Dober. I get it. Me personally, I can't get there right now because I don't really trust the durability. And I know even against Silva, he showed that he is durable. It took a lot to get him out of there. And even then, Gene Silva didn't knock him out unconscious, you know? So, like, the logical part of me is saying, like, he's still pretty durable, but the chin's going to go eventually, right? Like, eventually guys like this go out cold. And that kind of happened against Frivola. He didn't really go out cold, but he got dropped hard with it was the head kick. So do I want to take the chance against Torres, who, you know, at 30 years old, you can also see improvements from the guy. That's a possibility as well. Do I want to take the dog shot at not really dog odds, like just barely plus 100 is like the best I saw right now? Do I want to take that risk against Torres when Dober's 36 years old? Just took a beating from Gene Silva. Again, yes, Gene Silva could do the same to Torres, but did he? No. Dober's the one who took that beating and now has to keep living on with his life and then fight again against another guy who hits really, really hard. So I can't do it right now. I can't. I can 100% understand the argument for Dober. I'm going to pick him to win because I feel like he's the better striker in boxing range, and he will get there. He's good at closing the distance. I think he could mix in some takedowns. We've seen him wrestle occasionally, rarely, but we've seen him do it. And I could see it happen once Torres is tired. And I trust Dober's cardio much more. I trust his durability a bit more, even at this age. So I could get there, but I think I prefer to do it live, if anything. If he goes back to like maybe plus 125, then maybe I would do it. But other than that, I'm probably just going to stay away for now and then maybe enter live on Dober. Because, again, I think he has Torres mostly covered, except kicking range and just pure, I don't know. Like, I want to say power, but Dober also hits really hard. But, yeah, I'm just going to stay away right now. I think that's the best option. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. I'll pick Dober to win, though, for the purposes of the show. And like Aussie's saying, I'm not worried about his cardio either. All right. Okay. Torres time. Betting a favorite on a UFC card. What could go? I mean, hey, you can't just go your entire life and never bet a favorite. Dober has the crimson chin. McPooperton, did you go out of your way to have someone make that logo for you of a pooping, or did you find that image on the internet? Because if you actually went out of your way and had somebody made a logo for you of a pooping when you don't even make content, that would be pretty cool. Let's go Dober. I think he gets that lightweight KO record in this fight. I could see it. Aussie saying he hit Dober pretty hard. Only bet on the card for him so far. Should I add this fight back to my list of fights to retape just under Rodriguez and Melky? Because I know a lot of sharp people on Dober that I respect a lot, and I understand their perspectives. I'm just concerned a little bit. Champ saying he loves that Dober trains at elevation. Yeah, I'm not worried about the cardio. Outcast Kid saying we had no knockouts last card in late stream, but we leaning more KOs this week. I lean towards the subs in this card. And Aussie here talking about what John Kelly said. I feel like John's right. Subs hit more in elevation. I probably saw that stat. If John posted, I probably saw it from him. Let's see. Pooperton saying, continue to watch if you think I would drop both 2v1. He would drop them. King Troll, he is. Daz, oh, it's good, Daz. Good to see you, brother. All right, everybody's on Dober. That's what I'm saying. I feel like everybody's on Dober. That's also a concern. I don't like the public dogs. I don't like the age. Those are my two problems. Otherwise, he should handle Torres, but Torres is a dangerous dude. But that's enough. Let's move on to the main event. All right, for the main event, we got Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. Moreno, 22, 8, and 2, 31 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. Erceg on the other side, 12, 3, and 0. He's 29, so he's 2 years younger. He's going to be 1 inch taller, and he's giving up 1.5 inches in reach. So my bets, my breakdowns and my notes, those are behind a paywall now. But I do want to do free bets each week, and I think this is a proper way to do the free bet. Steve Erceg is going to be my free bet. He is the first bet I made on this card. I only made one other one after him. And for me, it's just like, what the hell is this line? What are we doing here? And some of these takes I'm hearing is just like, are we all just completely getting clipped by recency bias? Are we just like, what the hell? Literally one fight ago, everyone hated Moreno. Everyone said he was a bum. He was washed. He was done. He lost to Royval. He looked terrible. He's done with his career. He's had his best moments. And then last fight, Erceg against Kai Kara-France, he's minus 300. I think right before the fight, I got in on Kai Kara-France at like plus 240. I waited till the last second and then got that line. I was like, screw it, I'm in. But literally one fight ago, Erceg is almost minus 300 against a guy challenging for the title now. And now we've completely flipped. And everybody who was saying Moreno was washed one fight ago is now saying Moreno's the guy because he beat Albazi. And then Erceg, who everybody was super high on and was laying crazy chalk on against Kai Kara-France, now he sucks. And now he's the guy who was overrated. This shit is exhausting. Nah, this line doesn't make any sense at all. Unless you're completely buying into the recency bias, this line doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I would invite anybody in the chat to explain it to me because I would love an explanation. Why? Like how? How does Moreno cover 70%? How? Because he cooked Albazi. If you go back like 3-4 years on my channel, there was a time where I was saying Albazi was the dark horse of the division. I also once said that Andre Muniz was the dark horse of his division, and we know how that went for me. All right, so look, Albazi is a really good grappler. Yes, he's a great grappler, but he's got no hands. He's super hittable. His cardio is meh, and he's got no setup for the takedowns because he doesn't have any hands. So he's not beating high-level competition. He didn't beat Kai Kara-France. That was a highway robbery. And then he fights Moreno. Moreno cooks him, rightfully so. It would be a lot more concerning if he didn't. So am I going to take that and be like, yes, Moreno 70% because he beat Albazi well, and Erceg gets knocked out in the first round by Kai Kara-France. And then if you watch back the fight with the Erceg Kai Kara-France fight, off memory, I kind of just remembered Kai Kara-France just bonking him and putting him away. That's not what happened at all. Erceg actually did a pretty damn good job. It was competitive on the feet. It wasn't a blowout on either side. And then Kai Kara-France, it took him a couple times with the same combination, and then he ends up getting it. I think it was the left hand, kind of like an overhand, but it was kind of straight also. That's what he caught him with. So am I going into this just thinking like Moreno's going to wash him? No. Where is Moreno 70% over Erceg? Is he a way better striker than Erceg? How? Maybe because he has like better kicks, so he's got a few more tools and weapons in the arsenal. I can argue that maybe he's a little bit better on the feet then, and maybe a little bit rangier. He's got a little bit more of reach. He uses it pretty well, and he's a really good striker. Don't get me wrong, and he mixes in those kicks really nicely. That's how he got Kai Kara-France out of there in their rematch for the title, right? He got that body kick was nasty. And Erceg's got kicks, but it's not as good. Erceg's more of a pure boxer. That's what he's good at. He's a really fast, really good boxer. So I'd give a slight advantage to Moreno on the feet. But would I give him like a major advantage on the feet? No, not at all. I think it's going to be really close on the feet. And do I think Erceg's just not durable because he got knocked out by Kai Kara-France? No, I don't think that at all. I know that Moreno overall is pretty durable, but how many times did Davison hurt the guy? Dropped him like 4 times in their first fight, and then over their 4-fight series, how many times did he get hurt? I get it. He's been durable, but again, eventually that chin's going to go. Do I think Erceg's the one to do it? No, but he could probably hurt Moreno just as much as I think that Moreno could probably slightly hurt Erceg. So I don't really give either guy a huge edge on the feet. I think it's going to be close and competitive and a lot of fun. And then with the grappling, again, is Moreno 70% or higher on the ground? No. How? Erceg got to the dance through his grappling. A lot of people forget that because he's mostly a striker these days. He likes to strike. He's been doing a lot of boxing. Against Pantoja, the whole game plan was, or what it should have been, the reason he's not champion right now is because he didn't exactly have the best game plan, but what it should have been there is don't grapple. And that's probably why he wasn't offensively grappling the whole time. But at the end of the day, if you look at his regional stuff, he was a grappler first, and then the striking came along. Do I think Moreno is like way better than him in the grappling? I don't. I really don't. I think that both guys have good wrestling. I think both guys have good takedown defense. I think both guys are elite scramblers. So how I see it playing out is I think that on the feet, it'll be close. Moreno will be a little bit rangier. He's going to do that thing where he covers up and he pops the jab and then tries to follow it up. Erceg is going to be a little bit stiffer. That's his style. Just a little bit stiffer. He's going to be closing the distance, landing those combinations, looking to set him up. And then I think both guys will have their moments where they shoot. And I think the other guy is going to scramble immediately and pop back up on the feet. So I think we're going to see a fight where on UFC stats, you'll see maybe 2-3 takedowns each guy, but less than a minute of control time total for each guy because both of them are really, really good scramblers. And I think most of it plays out on the feet with that grappling mixed in. And that's kind of how I see it playing out. And who wins? I think either guy can win. So I think it's a coin flip. But that's not what the line is saying. The line is saying Moreno minus 230. So they're saying 70% chance Moreno wins this fight. And I couldn't disagree harder. So for me, this is an Erceg spot if you're betting. I do have one unit on Erceg at plus 195. I'm picking him to win the fight, so I'm willing to add more money on him. I'm willing to make this a 2-unit play, but I'm terrible at reading line movement, so I'm just waiting and seeing if the line gets better or not because I have a feeling it might. because I'm not seeing a lot of Erceg love. I'm seeing a lot of Moreno love, but I'm not seeing a lot of Erceg love. So I'm down to add one more unit and make it a 2-unit play, but I need to wait it out and see how the line goes. Because like I said, I'm a decent capper. I'm decent at picking fights. Not great at reading line movement. I'm getting better. 100% getting better this year, but still not great at reading line movement. All right. Let's see. Let's catch up with the chat. Because I just went on like a 10-minute rant. Daz saying he got reverse CLV'd on Erceg. I've been there. I've been there many times. Steve Erceg rushed to Pantoja, got cocky against France. I agree with you, brother. I agree. He got rushed, and he still almost beat Pantoja. They rushed him way too fast, and he still almost beat the guy. One of the best flyweights to ever live. I wish we got to see Pantoja versus Mighty Mouse. And Erceg comes out there and makes it not only a close fight, he was going to win that fight if he didn't screw up in the 5th round. And I'm glad he screwed up because I had money on Pantoja, but for his 4th or 5th, I think it was his 4th UFC fight, that was crazy. And now we're making him not just an underdog, slight underdog, sure, but now we're making him plus 195 against Moreno, who is good, yes, but come on. Let's see. I like Erceg here at dog odds. I think he has the ability to compete with Moreno on the right. Yeah, I agree with you there. Elevation could be big for Erceg. We saw him panic shooting on Pantoja. I mean, I don't think he panic shot because he was tired. I think he was just kind of out of his depth. His 4th UFC fight. One fight before Pantoja, he fought Matt Schnell, of all people. Can you imagine going from Matt Schnell to Pantoja? It's a big difference, man. And still, he did a really good job. Bam saying I'm an Albasi guy. And wasn't the Pantoja fight like in Brazil? Or am I tripping there? Let me double check that. Yeah, it was in Brazil. So not only was it his 4th UFC fight for a title shot, but it was also an enemy territory. And if I'm not mistaken, it also wasn't super long notice either. I'm an Albasi guy, and he looked super rusty. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm an Albasi guy anymore, but like Moreno looked great against him, but he should have, he really should have looked great there. Erceg has been in elevation already a while. I'm not worried about Erceg's cardio. I'm not. Plus 190. That's the line I got. I played Erceg plus 195. And yes, he was. That's what I'm saying. Our markets in MMA are so fickle. It takes the smallest gust of wind, the smallest little thing, and everyone completely forgets what they were saying one fight ago and just starts a completely new narrative, and they're extremely confident about it again. It's just crazy to me. Zig when they zag, right? That's what they say. If it wasn't for reverse CLV, I think Erceg shot on Pantoja around 5 because he wanted to end up on top as opposed to bottom. That's fair. That's fair, but that was still kind of stupid, he was winning on the feet. You just had to keep it going. But I get what you're saying. I guess he thought maybe I can't stuff the shot from Pantoja. It's gonna happen. Let me try first. That's fair. Recency bias, the best way to make money. Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's the 100% the best way. That and prospects that, not just prospects, but green prospects that are getting overhyped. Like Musasa is what comes to mind, or like I don't know who else, or like something like Musasa. I guess that's the most recent one. Am I getting Erceg? I'm assuming betting. Yeah, I did bet him, Pepe. I said at the beginning of the breakdown, he's my free bet of the week. And since you're not a subscriber, Pepe, I'll give you the bet for free. I did bet Erceg plus 195 for 1 unit, and I plan on probably adding. I'm just notoriously terrible at line movement, and I figured it might move against me because I haven't seen many people on Erceg, so I might add plus 195. I think I played it. When did I play it? Today or yesterday? I think I played it yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Last night. Nice. That makes me feel pretty good. If you guys don't know Pepe's a sharp-ass guy. What is it called again? Fight numbers. That's their thing. Pepe, John Kelly. Who else is a part of that? I think Chad. and I forget who else, but they got a solid thing going. You guys should check out Fight Numbers. Super sharp guys. They have a podcast. They have like a service where they give out bets. They have like a website with like odds and all that stuff. Really, really dope stuff going on there. You guys should check out Fight Numbers for sure. And yeah, all right, that's it. That's enough, guys. It's been an hour and a half of me ranting. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I'll run through the picks one more time. Like I said, I only have one bet that I'm giving out for free. That's going to be Erceg plus 195. And then I have one other bet. All my other stuff is behind a paywall now. $10. It's on Dub Club. You get access to the Discord, my notes, my breakdowns, all that stuff. And you can find the link in my description of this video or in any of my bios on any socials, or you can DM me and I'll send you the link, no problem. And then the promo code is Couch Warrior Pod. That should give you 20% off on the first month. And then if you don't like it, you can hop right out. All right, so picks. I'm going to go with Mederos, but pass. Emmers, Garcia, but pass. Major dogger pass here. Costa for now, pending retape. That's the number one fight I need to retape. Ateba, but just pass. Chairez, Ronaldo, Martinez. Probably the most confident favorite that I have is Martinez. Rosas Jr., Pfeiffer, Dober, I guess. And we're going to go with Erceg for the last one. Nev saying that I'm that desperate for units. Yes. Sorry you won't get my free bets anymore, Nev. It is what it is. Been doing this for 4 years, so. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for supporting. Even Nev. Thank you, Nev. And I'll catch you guys next time. Good luck this weekend.